Where's Creed? Creed?
Here.
Quality assurance. Your job. I really think you screwed the pooch on this one, Creed. Because of you, the entire company is in jeopardy.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's been a turbulent few weeks for Diamond Comics Distributors. Just 2 weeks ago, they halted distribution for comics worldwide, and then last week they announced they were not going to be paying vendors. We've been waiting for an update from Steve Geppi, Geppi Family Enterprises, and Diamond Comic Distributors as far as what they're going to do moving forward, and we finally have that. In this video, I'm going to read the pertinent parts of a letter from Steve Geppi himself to his vendors about Diamond Comics deferring some payments, what that payment schedule will be, and some of the other cost-cutting measures Diamond is taking. And then I'm going to talk to Perch from Comics by Perch, as well as Larry from LarryComics.net. First, I'm going to read the letter. Last week, we held vendor payments to allow for careful analysis of information from our industry, our business, and the effects of the worldwide crisis. We assured you that we would communicate our revised payment schedule when we were able, and I appreciate your patience and the many supportive messages I've received this week. Working with what we know today, below is the outline of vendor payments from Diamond Comic Distributors and Diamond Book Distributors. Beginning this week, the week of April 6th, you will receive 25% of the weekly amount due under your contract terms. Each subsequent week, you will receive a 25% payment of that week's balance. This reduced payment schedule will continue for 6 weeks, with the remaining 75% due in each of those weeks being deferred. Following the 6-week period, we will begin payment of the deferred balance in equal payments over a 13-week period. While we understand that this will have significant impact on everyone and the situation could change, we also recognize that our world is in the midst of an unprecedented crisis and aggressive action is necessary. In addition to steps outlined above, our leadership team is accepting a 50% salary cut, landlords have agreed to rent deferrals, and various other providers of professional services have agreed to defer their payments. Never before have we experienced such a test of our resolve and a demonstration of our commitment to each other. And that information is from a letter from Geppi Family Enterprises out to Diamond vendors, directly from owner Steve Geppi himself. Now let's talk to Perch and Larry about what this all means. All right, first up we got Perch. I just read the letter for the viewers. There's some details in there. I will give them this. It does sound like they're being proactive and taking measures to conserve some capital as far as, cutting payments for some of their senior staff, asking for deferment for rent and some other professional fees and stuff like that. But it doesn't sound good.
No, I mean, it's classic, much like the virus itself. It's flattening the revenue curve. So they are stretching out payments. They're stretching out their capital as long as they can. They're bracing for a long run here of not having cash. And so that's what they've done here with this deferred payment plan, this very slowly releasing cash out. This basically is hoping that cash is starting to come in midway through this plan so that everything continues to flow. But all in all, it's perhaps not expected from a company trying to save their cash, but it is nobody's going to like this.
No, the publishers, being the vendors that they're speaking of, they're relying on getting some money back for all the product that they put out, and this could have some very dire effects, and especially with some of the smaller publishers.
Yeah, big publishers will be fine in the sense that they don't. It's such a small incoming amount of revenue that it's not going to make too much of a difference. And DC and Marvel have already pivoted toward, with their parents, conserving their own cash, telling creators to slow down. There's a lot of things that they're already made steps to do. So the fact of Diamond not paying some of this amount, it's not really going to matter. But for everybody under the fold, and that'd be everybody kind of, in some cases from Image down, I think this particular plan hurts Image's model with their creators significantly. I mean, the creators get passed along a lot of pain through this, but everybody below that's going to really struggle with this plan.
One of the details that I'm kind of stuck on is this 6-week idea. Like this is all going to be over in 6 weeks and things will be starting to get back to normal, or even if it, as you say, 5 months. So in 2.5 months, 10 weeks, this is all starting to get back to normal. I don't see that happening. I don't think anyone sees that happening. Is that some pie in the sky BS, or is this just they just made an artificial date up and it will change it later?
Well, I think they're going to change it later. I mean, so the dates don't line up. So if it's a 6-week period, we're saying this is mid-May, that they're, quote unquote, back to normal, and they're starting to begin payment of the deferred balance, which means they're paying more. Then but what we've heard from Marvel and DC, I mean, Marvel's cutting a third of their titles at the moment. They're going to try it into June. I don't think these dates line up. So I think as we get through April, one of two things are going to happen. Either we're going to see a much better picture than what everybody is projecting right now, which would be awesome. Everybody hopes that, but nobody's expecting it. That's why they're projections. That's why, the current economic things are wreaking as much havoc as they are, because this is very damaging. I think we're going to get through April. We're going to start May, and this plan is going to have to be extended. And in some ways, if you read through this, it would be very easy for it to be extended. The framework is already there. They just say, well, okay, we're going to have to, start after 6 weeks, we're going to have to start in another 6 weeks. And I expect that to happen. But, the small publishers and the other vendors, I mean, we think about it in terms of comics, but there's a lot of small vendors that are part of Diamond that produce things other than comics. Everybody hurts. In fact, many of those companies that are getting some of their products and goods, the merchandise from China, they're hurting both directions as well. So I think this is it's bad. It's bad news for sure.
I'm imagining there's some publishers that are maybe going to want to take some action, in response to this, maybe some legal action, maybe say, no, you owe us this money. Do you think they're going to have a day in court, or this is going to be stretched out so long that by then it'll kind of all work itself out?
No, I think a lot of small publishers will certainly think that. The problem is they're not getting paid. So you've got to pay lawyers with something. And so if you've cut out your incoming, and that's kind of what I think Diamond's counting on a little bit of. They know, first of all, Diamond doesn't want to do this, of course. They would rather pay people and everything else. They don't want to do it. But they're all making a calculated bet that their vendors who they're not paying do not have the cash to pursue it legally. Diamond doesn't either, but you have to start a lawsuit with something. And I think so they're playing a little bit of chicken there. And the other part of it is we don't have another comic shop vendor distribution system in place. So if you're a small publisher and you decide to take legal action, Diamond cuts you off. You are saying goodbye to Diamond, and you're going to have another plan of directly providing your wares to shops. And if you don't have that plan today, once again, you're kind of stuck. This is why groups work so hard not to let monopolies form, because they get themselves in a position where they can dictate things that they shouldn't be able to.
Is this the beginning of the end for Diamond Comics, or do you think they can stretch it out even further? Maybe can they make it 4 months?
I mean, look, I think if the situation can resolve itself in 6 weeks, like Diamond hopes, then a lot of people will be irritated, but they'll be so pleased that product is flowing again and money is coming in again, and especially on the small publisher level, that these sins will be forgiven in the sense of, well, let's just focus on making cash because we need to pay bills and we need to dig our way out of this debt. And in that scenario, people rarely look for new opportunities. They just huddle down and live with what they've got. This is how Diamond survived before. If it stretches out longer than that, if the signs indicate, and we'll know, I think, by the end of next week, that this is going to keep going, and probably it will, you will see more and more small publishers, medium publishers, and the big guys too. I mean, DC's already signaled it, to say, yeah, we got to figure out something else. I mean, whether it's more, extends our pain a little bit, we have to get some other solution here. And as soon as enough volume of vendors and publishers start to do that, it is over for Diamond. They cannot survive as not a monopoly, unfortunately. Certainly not the level they have. But keep in mind, I mean, not in this letter, they've laid off a significant amount of their staff already. They've cut their group a lot. So when they say our leadership team is accepting a 50% salary cut, that's admirable, I guess. But a good portion of the company was forced a 100% salary cut already. So it's kind of cold comfort to say, until the leadership's, taking a cut. I don't know. I think they have to rely on things bouncing back very quickly at this point to survive, is my opinion.
All right, Perch, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything you need to say before we wrap this up?
No. Just, keep tracking the news and let's follow this together, and hopefully we will get the best case scenario. I think we're all hoping for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. All right, next up, we do have Larry from LarryComics.net. You read up on the letter from Steve Geppi, Geppi Family Enterprises, on the deferred payment plan. In your perspective, this is a good thing.
Call me a cockeyed optimist, man. If you were gonna not pay the cable company, right, would you make a 25% payment, or would you? This sounds like a guy who's planning on being in business. Doesn't sound like somebody who's planning on just taking off. I mean, a payment structure where it's disappointing for somebody. I'm sure it's disappointing for a lot of publishers, but something's coming today, and your distributor is looking to structure things and get that rolling. I mean, I thought it was really positive. I didn't want to start hearing news from publishers saying, where's my money? Diamond today sent out a letter with a structured payment plan. So I think it's great.
Well, it's also clear by the contents of the letter that they are talking out, to their payouts and saying, hey, listen, money's tight right now. We want to pay you, but we can't pay you now. Can we work out a thing? So, they're not sitting there in a panic mode. They're actually being proactive and trying to control their money situation and make it last.
They're being smart. This whole situation, I mean, you don't know where it's going to be next week. Everything just escalates so fast. Baseball's canceled. Hockey's canceled. There's no new comics. I mean, my head spins how fast this is happening. Maybe they have the money and, to protect themselves, their families, their business, their employees. Maybe they're doling it out a little bit at a time.
My only concern would be maybe that 6-week benchmark is like, hey, we got enough money to last 6 weeks. Hopefully, they're not planning on things getting back to normal by that period of time. But it does feel like it's structured in the way in the letter that where they can kind of roll that 6 weeks out into 12 weeks if they need to.
In all honesty, do you see the state of Maryland saying open your warehouses before 6 weeks? I mean, right now it seems like we're in the midst of this whole virus, and they're saying that like the peak infection rate is coming up. I mean, that just seems like a common sense type target to me. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking more like 12 weeks. I don't think that things are going to get back to normal in a month and a half. I think it's going to be three months more.
Then if by your date, if the Diamond's going to be able to ship in 12 weeks, publishers should be happy because they will have been paid 6 weeks early before they have to bring their next shipment. They'll be paid in full by the time stuff starts rolling again. I think that's what everybody is probably looking for. That's best case scenario, right? Have the money in the bank, and then, your distributing partner is ready to start shipping trucks again. If they started shipping comic books, say, where are they shipping them? To a network of closed and partially closed stores. I mean, I don't want them. I'll take I'll wait until everybody can get out and about.
From your perspective, this is definitely not the beginning of the end. This is a company that's making plans and looking to last the long run and be there for the industry when it comes back.
100%. They told everybody we're starting to make payments to you. Like I said, if I was going to stiff my cable company on my cable bill, I wouldn't make a partial payment. I just wouldn't fucking pay them. So.
Well, I love your honesty. That's why I brought you back on the channel. We're definitely going to have you on the channel more because I like the cut of your jib and the way that you put your information out there.
Thanks. You're in the minority.
Definitely not. The viewers on the channel definitely appreciated you being on Comics Aficionados last weekend. Larry, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to get out there before we wrap this up?
If you love comic books, they're coming back. If you love comic books, there's no way in hell you've read everything. Pick up something that you've always wanted to read, check it out, and don't worry. They're going to start rolling again. I'm confident.
Well, I love the optimism, and thank you so much, and we'll definitely talk again soon.
Thanks for having me on, man. Have a great day.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.